Applebee's, boy. I'm not going to Chili's.
Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven, and today we're recording from the dentist office while we struggle to scar the landscape. Goofs, big goofs, to be expected, Lamau.
You know, the most exciting part about being here at the dentist's office is that at the end, we're going to get a toy and maybe a sticker.
I just love all the drilling in the background that I'm going to edit in the episode.
A little bit of weight room music, the rustling of highlights magazines.
You know, I wrote that intro with Lamau and Big Goofs, and I'm not feeling Big Goof today. I'm not feeling it at all.
Absolutely the same. I felt really good earlier up until like maybe an hour ago, and
absolutely
energy is quite low right now.
It's the pre-podcast depression.
Yeah, we're gonna, fake it till we make it, and sometimes that's funnier.
It's basically postpartum depression, but instead it's before podcasting.
It's prepartum depression.
How's your week been?
It's been good. It's just fucking all work shit. I've been
just cooking.
Yep, just going at it. Been
grinding, sauteing.
Yeah, it's been hot as fuck up here, man. The last couple days especially have been really brutal, which, when we're in the food truck or something, it's like a contained thing, and it can be hotter in there sometimes than it is for the rest of the area, but we have like a fan, and it makes it nice. And at the zoo, it's like you're out there, and we do have some shade, and we do have a fan in there as well, but it is just, I don't know, it's something like you're more exposed to it.
Yeah, that makes a difference, though. The just UV drying your skin dehydrates you so much faster.
Yeah. Oh, and plus the smoke was last week. I forgot about that. That
was fun.
That was fucking brutal.
I've only felt the moon on my skin in ages now.
I mean, that's not a bad way to be.
It's not terrible.
You extra pale?
Vacation helped, but still way more pale than I've been in a long time. It's very strange. But I'm about to cover up some more skin. I've been trying to figure out my neck tattoo forever. And I think I finally got it. I need to do a final drawing, though.
All right, hell yeah.
Yeah, pretty classy stuff.
I mean, isn't a neck tattoo always... It's just, there's a certain class to it.
Absolutely.
It's low class, but, it's class.
You got any honorable mentions?
I do not.
I got a couple of quick ones. Have you seen the game Cruelty Squad?
I have not.
It's terrible. And by terrible, I mean excellent. It's an absolute trash aesthetic first-person shooter that feels like it's 20 years old, where it's almost like Atari level shit graphics, like that, like bad vaporwave and like 3D model texture stuff.
Okay.
But you get to harvest organs and sell them on the black market while assassinating people and using their organs as biomods. And like you assassinate the head of evil pharmaceutical companies called like Psychopharmanetics, and you kill their CEO, and then you can list his organs on the black market and affect, like the game has its own stock system. And then you can like use their organs as biomods. So there's like an extra appendix you can get, and it's called the Grapendix because you get to use it as a grappling hook. It's all like weird dystopian meat trash aesthetic.
That's fucking cool.
It's pretty rad. So that's worth checking out, especially if you like garbage.
I'm looking at pictures of this now. This is like, looks like it came out on the N64.
Right, but it's like got a pretty extensive both community and like series of like in-game possibilities. It's almost like a Hitman game where you can like do something with stealth or like brute force, or like there's so many mods. It's made by like a single person and like maybe a small team, but there's like so many different items and like weird shit you can do because the guy just worked on it forever.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah. And then, completely unrelated, there's a really cool lecture series called Death by Shelley Kagan. And I've liked this guy for a while now. But I recently found he has a really cool entire lecture series. He's a philosophy professor at Yale, and the lectures cover an entire semester of his classes at Yale. And it's really good, provocative philosophy centered around the question of death. And it's been like, it's nice to like listen to in the background, but it's also, in most stuff like that, it's so fucking dry, but he's very high energy and provocative enough that I like want to be engaged when listening to it. He's really good.
Nice, I'll have to check that out.
You would dig it. And then also there's a new show called Jury Duty that is something you would really fucking like.
Okay.
Because it's like the Truman Show, but it's a whole fake jury where one person doesn't know it's fake.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, where they create these ridiculous scenarios, and I forget the name of the guy, but it has one famous actor, and it's like he's stuck on jury duty, and it's almost like The Office, in a sense, where the other people involved like have lines and stuff, but the one person in the show doesn't know it's a show. He thinks he's actually on a jury duty.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and I'm still at the beginning of it, supposedly, but they...
How do you think you're at jury... I mean, like...
They did, like, fake summons and shit. Like, I'm pretty sure... I was questioning how they even made the show.
And they filmed, like, at a courthouse?
Yes.
That's wild.
It's a pretty extensive pranked kind of deal, but the guy really believes he's on a jury having to, weigh in on a real case, and everyone else on the jury is, like, crazy, but it's not obvious it's fake, and they all have, like, lines. Like, how it's filmed is all, like, candid, and there's, like, story arcs and shit of these other jurors, and it's, like, one guy's reaction to it all, basically.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's almost like that magic thing where they get the guy to kill the push.
Yeah.
It's basically like that, but a jury.
All right, cool. I will check that out.
It's pretty rad. But today, I think we're going to take a look at a couple stories. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find the escape route out of doing this episode.
Like, oh no, I just sawed my fucking arm off. It looks like we'll have to record tomorrow.
Yeah. But we do have a couple interesting stories that have been... One's really popular now, and then the other one was kind of a big deal at the time. But we're going to take a look at these because they're stories that got popular for the wrong reasons, I think. And they got a lot of attention, but I think a lot of people missed the point. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to show why people are wrong and dumb, just not for the reasons most people think.
Well, first of all, I want to state I love this article headline.
Yes.
Idiot carves his and his girlfriend's initials into the Roman Colosseum.
Right off the rip, that is a garbage article title. How can you call someone an idiot in an article title?
They usually, it's like, man arrested for carving his initials into the, or, whatever. An idiot.
I know, that's like pretty bold. And it's an act of love. How do you call him, he's an idiot for love?
I mean, aren't we all? Doesn't love make idiots out of all of us?
I mean, this story...
Fools, the lot of us.
This story was in, like, all the mainstream news, and I cannot for the life of me understand how the fuck anyone even took the time to write the article. And it's, like, huge. So, I just want to talk trash.
Hey, some people are really upset about it.
I don't understand how, why, or... Yeah, I just don't understand at all.
Italy's Minister of Culture, Gennaro I'm going to have to... Sanguilinio.
He sounds like a real piece of shit, though.
Sanguilano.
Just how he spells his name, I can tell he's a bad dude. He's a bad character. This is a bad actor. Don't trust him.
Italy's Minister of Culture called out this identity. I just fucked it all up. Italy's Minister of Culture called out this unidentified idiot who was filmed using a key to carve his and his girlfriend's initials into the 2,000-year-old Roman Colosseum, one of the most significant historical sites in the world. The inscription reads, Ivan plus Haley, 23.
It's adorable.
Police were alerted of the crime after the video circulated on social media. If identified and convicted, the man faces fines starting at 15,000 euros or 5 years in jail.
It's a lot of money and a long time.
Yeah.
Quote, I consider it very serious, unworthy, and a sign of great incivility that a tourist defaces one of the most famous places in the world, a historical heritage site such as the Colosseum, to carve the name of his fiancée. Salanguino tweeted, quote, I hope that whoever carried this act out will be identified and sanctioned according to our laws.
I thought, didn't they did identify him and they've got him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
They've been torturing him for days now.
Beating him inside the Coliseum.
They can fight tigers right now.
You can pay us 15,000 euros or fight this tiger.
All right, I have many debunking points, but let's start off right away. Nothing is sacred.
Yeah.
Why the fuck should this rock matter?
Yeah. You had brought up this point yesterday, and I'm not mad at this the way I'm mad at, like, people, like, spray painting in, like, Yellowstone or, you know, like, in nature kind of thing, like, you know, that part, that's more angering to me than, you know, carving into the Colosseum. Like, fucking whatever. It's been there for 2,000 years. We have pictures of it. It's fine.
Let's work with that. All right, you know when you see these, like, landscape photos with, like, a bunch of shit graffiti in the corner, you're like, damn, they, like, spray painted some, like, garbage tags on, like,
yeah, it's like, it's not even good. If it was good, you know, we could have a conversation maybe, but
that's my point, is it's all aesthetics. Like, who the fuck cares if someone vandalized something? It's what they, because really all they did was, like, in his case, it's subtractive. He took away a little bit of stone. When it's graffiti, they add a little bit of paint. Like, who the fuck cares? Why are rocks sacred? Why are these old rocks that aren't the Colosseums built, like, half by slaves anyway?
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And it was like it's a monument to slaughter, right?
Yeah.
Why the fuck do we care if someone instead carved, like, a little sign of love? Like, as dumb and, like, kind of immature, goofy, I don't give a fuck. It's a rock.
Yeah. Like, that's the one, like, with the Colosseum thing. Like, I don't care. Like, fucking spray paint on the Colosseum. I don't give a shit. It's, like, I don't know. It feels like it means so much less than, like, if I'm going to travel cross country to go to some, you know, national park that's known for its astounding natural beauty, and I get there and someone's got their stupid fucking tag on it, it's like,
that feels shittier, but I don't think it's wrong.
I don't know. Yeah, it's wrong.
If the aesthetics are bad.
I mean, even if it's like, it's a really good, it's like, that's, I mean, like, it's rad, but, like, did you really have to do that there, though? Like, do you think that your artwork, something that you created, is at least as beautiful or on par to be with this, you know, natural, you know, naturally formed beauty of the water crashing these rocks to make them form this way, and the trees growing these roots to make them stand this way and shit, and, like, moving the earth with it, and over, you know, thousands and thousands of years, and you're gonna put your fucking Krylon tag in the mix?
I figured it out.
Yeah,
I have the argument. Okay, because my thought is, why can any other human being tell me I can't mark the world how I want? That's my initial argument, right? Emotionally approaching this topic. And then, admittedly, when we shift this argument to other examples, like the protesters who have been doing the paint splashing on these, like, big paintings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all the environmentalist shit. Like,
cans of soup and whatnot.
Yeah, let's say the glass wasn't there and these magnificent paintings are being destroyed, right?
Mm.
That kind of does bother me. So here is my argument. Graffiti rules. If you're going to cover up, you can't cover up someone's mural with a shit tag. You can only cover things with equal or greater things. I think that's the rule. Vandalism.
I can work with that.
Like, you can tag fucking Yellowstone as much as you want, as long as it's more beautiful than what was there previously.
Yeah.
And I would argue the stone of some shit Coliseum isn't that beautiful. And someone's, like, when you see a park bench with carvings of, like, dumb teenage love shit, I love that. It's adorable.
That adds to the value.
I would way rather see that than another bare 2 inches of stone out of the entire Coliseum. I don't give a shit. Like, they're slave dungeons, right? Or, like, death dungeons.
Yeah. So it's the other one is, like, you would have to look so hard to find that, that carving into the side of it. It's not going to stand out. Like, if you take a picture of the entire Coliseum, you're not going to see that. It's not going to show up.
It would in that spot, but if you had to take,
if you got close enough to it and singled out that one fucking brick.
Yeah. But, like, the overall percentage of, like, surface area, no shot.
Yeah. So,
graffiti rules.
Yeah. There should be a law on it. And here's the problem, of course, is when you have that rule, the idea of, is this as beautiful as Yellowstone? And then if the artist is going, yeah, of course, I think it is. And everyone else is like, but no, it's not.
I don't think it matters what anybody else thinks.
Well, it does if you're fucking covering up something that is
I think we do
treasured by other people.
It's an honor test. If you, in your heart of hearts, believe it is more beautiful, you get the pass.
People cannot be trusted with that. Lie
detector test. If some schizo wants to paint fucking mustaches all over Mount Rushmore,
and you know what? I'm super down with that.
Yeah,
that would be rad.
Oh man, all the conspiracies. Have you seen all those this week?
No.
They're like, Mount Rushmore's demonic. That's the big new one. There's demons in the rocks. And at night, the eyes glow red.
Oh, God. Who comes up with this shit?
Schizoid righties. I don't know. One of their rebuttals was, this stone's irreplaceable. This is, ancient history. We can't fix this stone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe that at all. That's absolute bullshit. You
absolutely find
people restore rocks all the time.
Yeah.
Second of all, you could just super glue another old rock on top of it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be that fucking hard.
No one's gonna fucking know.
All right. Next argument I have: fuck your property. Why the fuck do I have to respect anyone else's shit?
Now that I don't. I mean, the idea is that you're a dick if you're fucking with shit that's not yours. But
I'm devil advocating.
But what if it's public property? What if it's like Yellowstone?
How does anyone own that Coliseum? Who the fuck owns that?
I think the government of
the
Italian government does.
Why the fuck should we respect what the Italian government says they own from people that died hundreds of years ago?
Home of the Vatican and the birthplace of Stalin.
Well, like,
or not Stalin. What's his name?
It's Stalin.
What was the Italian?
Stalin and his Roman games.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to... His name starts with an M.
Mao?
No, the
Mao
Italian
Zedong.
one. Yeah, he's Mao Zedong from... he's actually from Naples.
Why can't I go bury my dead
Mussolini.
Bunny? Yeah, Mussolini. He hung from the lamps. Not in a Coliseum. Why can't I bury my dead bunny at Serpentine Mound? Why do I have to respect dead people's shit? I mean, obviously I don't, but why is there an expectation someone owned this a long time ago that that we should honor it? Like, if we believe, like, churches aren't sacred, that there's, like, no... I'm not going to value something just because people have, like, a supernatural, spiritual belief in it. Why would I honor it because someone's
because they have a rational feeling of connection to it instead of an irrational one?
Yeah.
I mean that would be my argument. That's if they have a rational connection to something that.
Wait, you think they have a rational connection?
Would be my argument, is if they did have a rational connection to something. I don't know. I'm also playing devil's advocate of the.
Yeah, sure. Let's say I'm
trying to find the other extreme. To the extreme that you present.
Let's say we have a Native American friend and we all visit Serpentine Mound, and I'm like, yo, fuck this place, we should turn it into a pet cemetery. And they're like, no, that's shitty. I'd be like, you're not my friend anymore.
you're not my friend anymore, and I already buried my cat here last night. So
watch it. You're gonna be next, bud. But I don't know what the argument would be. It's the same thing as, like, we are not the evils our ancestors did either. It's that, like, why the fuck should I? I'll devil advocate
yourself.
Devil's advocate. Now, when you do go to special places, this is like the woo-woo. There is, like, a feeling of, like, energy or intent of other people's time or passion, attention to detail, like all of those things. And I'm not, like, advocating for, like, anything pretty someone died to make should be destroyed, but I don't think the old painting or the religious artifact or the sacred burial mound is actually sacred and deserving to be protected at all costs. Because we're talking about charging this man half a year plus, whatever, of his income and putting him in a cage for something that it isn't even like a spiteful or shitty thing that he carved. It's like an actual sign of love. Yeah,
the charges are wild. Like, regardless of how you feel about it, the charges are wild. It's too much. It's insane. I would say once you start getting into the matter of perspective of like why is this thing actually sacred? Is, once you start getting into that, like, you're dipping into a game of perspectives, and it's difficult to mind the like extra fireworks someone has over here.
You're at a battle in the dentist office.
Yeah.
You're shelling the competition.
They're shooting mortars down the hall. When you start getting into the game of perspectives, you start crossing the lines of, like, whose perspective matters. And that's a slippery slope.
Here's the next question. Is your house sacred? God, there's some stupid, poor piece of shit playing music. Selling drugs, playing music on my block. And I don't like it. He should be giving me free drugs and turning it down politely. Oh, man. My car just got broken. Did I already talk about that or no? Somebody broke all my fucking windows, and I'm out there like Quentin Tarantino in my rocking chair, ready.
Just waiting for him to come back.
Just waiting for him. like my buddy did. I just am it's illegal, so I'm not going to do this. But I really want to weld those fucking razor blades to the handles, because goddamn, that'd be so satisfying. What a piece of shit breaks your windows. Now this is actually
here's what you do.
Perfect case example, actually.
you get a big box and a stick and a string, and put upturn the box and put a catalytic converter underneath it. And then, just sit on the porch, and then when, someone comes by to steal it, you pull the string and it traps them under the box.
You know what they took?
What they take?
Nothing. They just broke the window. They didn't even take gift certificates. They were like,
I ain't need shit in here.
Yeah. They didn't even take the gift certificates.
What is this, the Chili's? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm an Applebee's boy.
Yeah.
I'm an Applebee's boy. I'm not going to Chili's.
That's not going to help me on trivia night.
All right, here's the question. All right, so we're doing, is your house sacred to me? And is my car, like, why shouldn't someone break into my car?
Right.
And as angry as it makes me, I think if somebody really wants to break into my car, I don't really see my car as, like, something unbreakable. Like, if somebody wants to break into my car, like, it's my property, which is different than property of a bunch of people's ownership that are already dead. But I still think someone can break into my shit if they want to.
Mm-hmm. So the issue is, my house is sacred only in the way that this is where I sleep and poop and, just do all the things that are, like, this is my safe haven, my temple, if you will.
The good old poop clause where you poop.
I poop here, so you can't come in.
Poop is the clause to the nothing is sacred. Poop actually is the most sacred.
It's like squatting rights or whatever, but it's like I poop here, so you can't vandalize it.
I pooped on it. I own it.
It's mine now.
Just go to the car dealership and poop on the car you want. It's mine now, bud.
They'd have people all over the lot just watching for people trying to jump up and squat on top of the hoods. Oh, what a job.
I mean, we can almost even take this into the capitalism versus communism, like public property, private ownership. Like, a lot of fake communists kind of think like there should be no private property, which is, clearly silly.
Yeah.
But I think the extent of which we value or give rights to our property is pretty goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we should value people's property who aren't here to defend it.
Here's I think this is just where this would step in, the don't be a dick philosophy of like.
But is it being a dick?
If smashing your car windows?
No, I would, with that.
That's being a dick.
But is it being a dick to graffiti something? Or to carve a heart? Because I can't get there with those. I can get there with breaking into someone's car that they bought, they own, and they take to work. It is a dick move. But to carve a heart into something where no one is there to own it anymore,
so
I can't.
The issue is that it's not. It is or it isn't. It's sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. And
I can be okay with that
because okay. Like for example, like I know it's a big thing in Europe. I'm sure there's places here that do it too, but like any place I've been to in Europe has like a bridge or a fence that's covered in locks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's like, so they cut those off like every month or so, and then they just fill back up and they fill back up, and it's like for nothing else, like the lock industry is booming in those areas,
but everyone likes that exists, and part of us
not everyone likes that exists.
There's like famous bridges in the world where people put those locks and they never clear them. There's like famous bridges where people throw their wedding rings into the ocean. Like those have become like tourist attractions at some places.
I guess
like some locals don't like some of that shit, but a lot of times it's more of an attraction to see that many love locks on a fence or whatever.
Now, I will say that's a bad example anyways, because it is something that you can just cut it off. And
but a lot of people would argue that it would be shitty to cut them off because those are like sacred.
But then so if you don't cut them off, then no one else can put more locks there. It eventually fills
debatable. Up. You can always add more locks to locks. I mean, this isn't a logistic problem.
There comes a point where there are too many locks and you cannot get another lock on that fence.
The more ridiculously silly it is, the better.
Where the weight of the locks destroys the bridge.
That has happened. I'm pretty sure it was in like a French canal or some shit, where it was like bending the bridge over.
They weren't, when they built that bridge, they were not considering the weight of all the locks that the Americans would come over and put on it.
Do you know what the name of that bridge was?
No.
The Leaning Tower of Pise. It used to be a bridge and it flipped over. So.
And now
now it's a tower.
They put so many locks on it, they turned it into a tower.
History by the Trash Cats. It is so fucking stupid.
Oh, god damn it.
Overall, I think there's like room to squabble on what is a dick or not with minor acts of vandalism, but I can't ever imagine caging someone for it. God, they really are playing that music really loud.
I can't hear it from my end, for the record. But
it's the most beautiful shit R&B from 10 years ago.
Oh, hell yeah. Only 10 years ago?
That hood romance in the air.
I was listening to some Paul Wall earlier today.
I believe you.
I had one of my coworkers is from Texas. They just moved up here. They lived in Texas their whole life, but they're like in their younger 20s. And I said, so how important or how big of a part of your life are Paul Wall and UGK? And they were like, I don't know who those people are.
Oh, damn.
I guess that makes sense. You were like an absolute toddler when they were popular. So
have you seen him lately? He just put out a new music video with a younger artist that's
man, he's still doing shit.
Yeah, he's skinny now.
Yeah, he lost a bunch of weight.
I was not ready for that. I missed the chubby cheeks with the grill. I feel like skinny cheeks with the grill doesn't pop the same.
Yeah, he looks like he's trying too hard now.
Yeah, it looks like he
still rocks grills though.
Yeah, look good.
It's like that's his brand. Bring back the grill.
I still have mine. It's just I am too much of a little dirty drug addict to keep a grill in my mouth. I need to keep smoking and eating shit. Like shit is in my mouth every 15 minutes, which just doesn't work with the grill.
And trying to, picture wearing one at work, and I'm trying to like work the register and talk to customers, and I'm like spitting on them and shit. Yeah, they can't understand a fucking word I'm saying.
There's no way 90% of rappers that wear them can rap. There's no fucking shot.
Yeah.
It is so much more obstructive than it looks.
Yeah.
But they're so cool. But I just want real metal teeth.
Like, you've been going to the dentist.
We'll get into it. I just finished the last of my 17 cavities, my latest dental package, right?
Yeah.
Today, I ate a mint. Chipped a tooth. A fucking caffeine mint, dude. Just a nice little chunk of a tooth just comes right off, and I'm chewing it like it's mint. I'm like, that is a really hard mint. And then I spit it out. I'm like, nope, that's my tooth. Cool. Fucking awesome. Let's make it 18 teeth to fix. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, why not? You're already, it's like, call it a dental baker's dozen.
In for a penny, in for all my money. Yeah. Who gives a shit? Fucking teeth. They're stupid. They're bone rocks. Why does their mouth have to have rocks in them?
It's the only place in your body, or it's the only place where you can see your skeleton.
Yeah, why can't we be like bugs where we just have acids that digest shit and we just slurp?
Have a fucking exoskeleton?
Dude.
How fucking cool would that be? Or chitin?
I don't know chitins, but it's
chitin is like the armor that bugs have.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
I would love to be as strong as an ant.
Like if you had
that way I could kill ants even more violently.
the powers, the strength and the like armor of an ant, you would be unstoppable.
God, that'd be so rad.
Yeah. But not only if it's scaled to your size. If you're just as strong as a singular ant, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah. All right, next case, because I think we can push this argument a little bit farther.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this one?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is from CNN. A Connecticut woman who walked directly on thermal features at Yellowstone National Park in July was sentenced to 7 days in jail, prosecutors said. Madeline Casey, 26, pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor offense, according to a statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Wyoming. Acting U.S. Attorney Bob Murray said, I almost said Bill Murray, although a criminal prosecution and jail time may seem harsh, it's better than spending time in a hospital's burn unit.
Wah, wah, wah. What a douchebag. What a stupid piece of shit attorney, Bob Murray. So this was a couple years back. I think it was 2021. And it was during the early days of COVID where everyone was revved up. And I believe there were these long lines at Yellowstone, and people were really pissed she could have damaged nature, so they wanted to throw the book at this lady. And it was on, I remember seeing it on the news. I feel like it was one of those stories where they like want to run a smear campaign on a random person for being a dick, and they'll run the story like 5 minutes of every hour.
Well, they're realizing that people are tuning into it, and they're like, oh, I guess we need to share more about this story.
Yeah.
Because we're all glued to the fucking news.
In July, at the park's Norris Geyser Basin, Casey and another person left a protective walkway, approached the thermal pool, and walked directly on the ground. Holy shit, they walked on the ground. Signs nearby instruct visitors to remain on the boardwalk, and these two did not. The ground is fragile and thin, and scalding water just below the surface can cause severe or fatal burns. More than 20 people have died from burns suffered after they fell into Yellowstone's hot springs. Well, all I can say about that is we're better off with those 20 people. It's walk at your own risk. She took a risk, high reward.
I mean, is it really a high reward? What do you get? You get a closer picture?
You didn't have to wait in line.
I mean, it doesn't even seem like they were in a line. They just went off a path.
No, I remember it was a long ass line, and I think because like social distancing, things were like taking super long, so they were like, "Yo, fuck this," and they like walked through. And it was through the parts of the spring where it's those really cool thermal colors. It's really pretty, and it is like a rare, beautiful thing in nature. And they were like, "Yo, fuck this wait," and they just marched through. And people were angry. And that's news, apparently.
I mean, it's like if someone cut in front of you at the grocery store and they were on the news the next day and we talked about them for a year.
It really is the equivalent of that.
That's what that sounds like then.
It's like a slow news week. Like we had 19 shootings over this 4th of July, but like for that whole week, the biggest story was a lady walking through Yellow Springs. Lady walks through nature rudely.
It's like she could have got hurt. Like, did she? No.
Nope.
She could have, though. A judge ordered Casey to pay $2,040 in fines, fees, and community service, according to court documents. Her jail time must be served by January 31st, 2022, so she's done with that. And she is banned from the park during her 2-year probation.
Oh, man, that's going to suck.
You can't go back. It's like, I already saw it. Yeah. I was there. It's cool.
Regarding their sentencing, Park Chief Ranger Sarah Davis said, quote, "Visitors must realize that walking on thermal features is dangerous, damages the resource, and illegal. Law enforcement officers take this violation seriously." What a dumb bitch. This is why we don't respect park rangers. They're like, don't take our rocks and feathers.
You know, actually, I was looking at one of the potential jobs when I was young was like, I could go fucking be a parks ranger. That would be a kick-ass job. And it was like, oh, you got to go to college for like 6 years to like learn about
to know which
nature
rocks
studies
to protect.
and shit. And it's like, I don't want to go back to fucking school.
You got to be able to sniff out those feathers in people's bags, you know. Give that cactus back. It's
Put
special.
that rock back. I saw you move that rock. That's not where it was last week.
I think it's the Redwood Oaks, like the big park there. Like if you're caught taking anything, it is like serious.
Oh yeah, they don't fuck around with that.
Like it's like I think it's like over $10,000 fines and mandatory jail time.
That's pretty crazy.
It is, and they have a wall of shame of people that are caught stealing.
Now I feel like that's appropriate.
I don't. I think that's even shittier.
I feel like, I mean, like, the fine is like, I don't know. The fine's kind of high, but having it that high prevents people from doing it because you know how we do.
But do we
I take a rock from every
shaming people.
I've taken a rock from every state I've ever been to, and like I get the need to like want to take
every state I've been to. That way it's mine forever.
Yeah, now it's mine. I have a piece of that. You know, take a piece of bark off a tree or like whatever dumb shit that people would do. It would prevent it having the consequence that high deters more people from doing it. But
I think that's a bad thing.
I don't know. I think
is nature really worth protecting?
If anything is, that's one of them.
We all want those thermal pools to exist, right?
Right.
They're beautiful. And unless I'm having a bad day, I want those thermal pools to be there.
Yeah.
That said, the world is just as much mine as it is as someone else. And I can't imagine any human being telling me I can't walk where I want to walk in nature. That is absurdity to me. How can someone justify that? If I walk into a special field of grass or a special warm water pool, and someone says you're not allowed to put your feet there.
I don't fully disagree with you. I'm trying to find an example. And then
they're going to charge you money for walking in nature. Like, that's such a special piece in nature. You have to pay us to be here.
If your actions destroy the ability for other people to enjoy that in the future,
that just makes it that much more special.
Yeah, exactly.
I had the most special walk anyone's ever had because it was the last.
They're dumb for not doing it sooner.
Yeah,
and that's when everything went to shit and everything burnt down. It's like you can have the most spectacular bonfire if you just light one of those redwoods on fire.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
That sounds rad, right? If you just did it, you know, like it would be cool. But of course, like you're going to go to jail or whatever. But like, you know, you had that experience. Like if anyone else is, they're all just jealous.
If I'm being super forthright, which I don't like to be, I like to be a little elusive, mysterious, you know. But if I'm being very tired and depressed. If I'm being fully forthright and not depressed, I don't want people destroying beautiful things. And it's not so other people can experience them. It's so I can experience them a second time.
So that I can destroy them.
Yeah. We make state parks and shit to protect. What was it? Was that Roosevelt who did the national parks? I think it was Rosie.
Teddy Roosevelt, right?
Well, yeah, Teddy D. Rosie.
Yeah.
I think he did all that shit, and it's like, all right, we did that specifically because forestation, industrialization would have destroyed so much beautiful shit. We want that shit to exist, so we protect it. And in some cases charge money in theory to upkeep it, which is bullshit. But we tell people how they have to respectfully navigate nature, which on like a policy level, on like a government level, like on a local municipal level makes sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on a like human philosophical level, I don't understand how people justify it as a general thing, telling people what they are and are not allowed to do, especially when it's a non-violent and especially when it's non-destructive. But in general, I don't know how you could tell anyone they can't be somewhere that is like out in the world in nature. Like, I don't understand how people try to justify borders at all to any country. I'll go wherever the fuck I want, and I don't feel like I have the right to tell anyone else where they can go either, where they can travel, where they can put their feet in this world. So if people really want to be pieces of shit and destroy beautiful thermal spots in parks, I don't want them to do that, but they should be allowed.
That seems weird to think that way.
Do you think you have the right to stop them? Like, what level of force do we use to stop somebody from walking through a magic field?
Deadly.
Shoot
force.
Take the shot.
Snipers. Install sniper towers in Yellowstone National Park.
There's feds in national parks at all times, just sniping with
not feds. It would be volunteer, a volunteer militia.
Those park rangers don't fuck around. Feather patrols out.
Yeah.
Out there looking. They got the night vision.
Yeah, they're not park rangers. It's the Feather Patrol. It's a volunteer militia group that protects our national parks. They wear bird suits to blend in with the nature.
Flying their bird drones.
And they do wear berets.
Oh man. But I can't, from a like philosophical point of view, be able to justify telling someone they can't destroy a piece of nature, even if I don't like it.
From a philosophical point of view, maybe, but how about from a moral point of view? Do you not see that as being a morally bad thing that they're destroying something that
I don't.
I mean, we just had the argument not too long ago about
that
the tree cutting down the Werner Herzog brought up the point of cutting down a beautiful tree that took hundreds of years to grow.
And I did say it made me feel bad. So the root question is the world sacred? And I think while this is one of those things, remember when I said I was struggling with, like, in general, I feel like I'm very metaphysically, philosophically congruent in my beliefs. Like, I might have some things that are a little edgy or like a little black and white, but most of my shit lines up really, really consistently in my beliefs. But there's certain things I believe that I don't inherently feel. And as like a throwaway example, one of those things, like, I'm full supportive and like think sex work is awesome, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's awesome. But I would have some reservations if my partner was doing that. And that's something how I internally feel, even if it's just from like social grooming grooming's the wrong word, but like just how you're raised or like the experience you're taught, like I have a different feeling than what I believe to be true. There's something where I would prefer, I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I would prefer my partner not to do that, even though I don't think it's wrong, and I think it's like a good, not necessarily good, but a neutral thing that should be allowed to be done and enjoyed by other people.
Mm-hmm.
But like part of me still feels like it's not what I want. So like I feel like chopping down 100-year-old tree to make pencils is not cool. Like part of that would make me like sad or whatever. But realistically, I don't think the earth is inherently sacred and that the resources shouldn't be used or we shouldn't be able to destroy shit. And there's an incongruency, and I know that means there's like something I need to like farther figure out there. But I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I've been stuck on trying to think if there's any other occupations that will elicit the same reaction of, I think it's fine that this is an occupation,
It's
but
a dangerous profession.
I don't want someone, that I love to be doing this. I feel uncomfortable.
I don't want my partner to be a heroin tester.
Yeah.
Or
I was going to say, a cop.
That's what I was going to say too, but there's like so many other reasons to like not have them as a partner if they work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, do I not want them to be a cop because cops are bad, or do I not want to date a cop is what I'm saying.
Both.
It's like that's, yeah.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B.
a little column A, a little column B.
But I think the root question, and I may be fully forthright, I may be slightly conflicted on this, but I don't know if I consider the world sacred and it to be a bad thing to disturb or destroy parts of.
I'm of the mind that anything that's man-made, like that is directly man-made, is not sacred.
That's kind of count. I'll challenge you. What about art?
Yeah, I'll give a fuck.
You've kind of expressed that sentiment before, but as a great patron and supporter of the arts, I feel like you would struggle with it in reality.
I think you're giving me far too much credit as a patron and supporter of the arts.
You funded Michelangelo when he was at his lowest point.
When he said, I want to carve these statues of women that look a lot like men, I said, here,
I got you, dog.
Michelangelo, here's the marble. Here's the chisel.
Let me put you on, dog. I got you.
I got you. Let me hit you up with my Connect.
And you would destroy
my
the
marble
statue if you needed more space in your house.
Yeah.
But a nice natural fountain or creek or whatever the fuck, you're like, hey, we got to leave that right there. I can't put on this house expansion.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's not even so much that we have to, but I definitely have a lot more reservations about destroying that than I would.
Why can't I make the world however I want? Why can't I destroy whatever?
You're infringing on the way that other people want the world, and if it's just you doing what you want to do, that's some villain shit.
Okay, maybe that wasn't the right question. I'm more trying to get out is why the fuck would it be sacred? Like, you don't have any inherent spiritual.
I'm not even saying it's sacred. I'm just saying that.
Well, if it's not. You kind of are. That's the implication.
I'm saying it definitely stands to be protected.
Why would it be protected if it's not sacred? What makes it worthy of protection then?
Because it doesn't have to be sacred to be worthy of protection.
I think
the word sacred, it implies some type of spiritual.
No. I don't mean it that way.
Some type of significance of importance that is.
Wouldn't you have to be attributing that, or else why are you protecting it? Unless you think it is kind of special.
Maybe I think maybe this because the word sacred has connotations to me.
Well, let's strip the connotations. If we had a different synonym, I would roll with it.
Right. Then I would say that it is somewhat sacred because it's something that we can't make the same way.
That's not
true.
If
we can, it's not going to be. It's not. The beauty of it, this river being what it is how it was made.
That's an appeal to naturalism. Like, this is the argument we would expect from a religious nut or like a creationist or some shit, that the God made the world this way because he made it, it's special. Look at giraffes. They're perfect. Actually, their neck's too long and their heart fails.
The difference is that it's not. I'm not saying it's beautiful because God made it this way. I know. I'm saying it's beautiful because over millennia, this land was structured over the erosion of this land, and that you can find fossils of sea creatures in Ohio because it used to be underwater and shit. Like,
I've spoke a lot about one of my biggest motivations and vulnerabilities is like the need to do something worth remembering. Like that's what art is, whatever. Like
That's what art is to you.
It is. Yeah, not to everyone. But to me, it's like I need to prove I had value. I need to mark the world that I existed by some means or another.
It still confuses me so much for someone who hates people as much as you do. In a general sense, hates the species that is people.
If I show my soft side, like in the Hobbit when Smaug loses his scale and he's got a little soft belly under there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I show my soft little belly, my tiny little patch of weakness, because the rest of me is strong like an ant skeleton.
Yeah.
If I show my soft, tiny, tiny little belly, we all want to be admired, or not, even if not admired, like accepted or embraced by other people to some extent or another. Mm-hmm. I don't care if people love me, but I wish there would be some people that respected what I did with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I don't want it to be that way, there's part of that that's definitely true. There's other reasons too, but there's truth to that.
I guess I feel like it seems sometimes when we talk about it that you are striving to procure more, attention and appreciation and affection rather than...
When I was younger, that was so true. Like, I wanted to be a rock star. Like Marilyn Manson, Kurt Cobain, like, like any weird musician. That's what I really wanted to be. Like, visual arts was always what I was good at, but I wanted to be something more where people liked me for me and not what I did. And, like, I think if I still pursued things that way, what you just said would be super true. But if I'm being all the way honest, I've definitely struggled with that. But I really think years of being a piece of shit addict, I think I've really lost a lot of that ego, because I don't, or at least at some point I made the distinct decision to no longer associate myself with my art. Like, I don't care if people ever know my real name or know what I look like.
Yeah.
I just want them to like the things I make. And most of the time I prefer they don't know I directly made it, unless it's a person I actually love and communicate with. Like, I want people to know what, the version of me, the alias that makes art or podcasts or whatever, writing or whatever, but I don't want them to care about me as a person.
That's fair. I guess the other thing is, like, I would argue that, when we talked about, like, part of the drive for your art is, like, to leave something behind that, like, shows that you left a mark on the world. You created something that you left behind. I mean, is that sacred?
What's complicated because that's intangible, right? That's not a thing that can be. It would be. No, sacred.
I'm sorry. Are the things that you created, the art that you create, is that sacred?
Well, that's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier. Is, to me, it is, right? But just like I may care about my car, let's say I make this masterpiece of art. If it is my property, I don't think it's cool or necessarily should be acceptable. Other people torch my car and burn my portfolio in the backseat.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't inherently think that is necessary. I'm not saying for sure, but I don't inherently think that is wrong. And I really don't think it's wrong if the person died and hundreds of years pass and I destroy an inanimate object. I can't objectively say that's wrong. The same way I can't say digging up a flower bed is wrong. Because I don't think that patch of earth or what somebody made a long time ago is inherently sacred. I think the practical argument for my art would be that the physical copy never matters. It matters as long as you have the true matter, which is digital pixels. Like, protect that with your life. Your hard drives are everything. My hard drive heart will beat on in the internet. But the earth and the printed print or painting or whatever, it doesn't inherently matter.
Let me give you one more hypothetical, and then we'll move on. So imagine, I think of Monet's garden with all the lilies and shit.
Dustin.
So it was definitely a man-made garden. It was a man-made area of nature.
Yeah, man.
It was
modified.
structured to be beautiful.
Yeah.
As a piece of art. Would that, I guess what I'd be getting at is like, you know, maybe not now because you did say like, you know, it's happened 100 years ago or whatever and that person's dead. But like in that time, if somebody vandalized his garden, would they be vandalizing his art? Yeah.
And to him it is, I mean, I'm kind of like showing a weakness because I'm not completely congruent on this. I am definitely admitting that I feel when I go into a space like someone's perfect garden, they spent years of their life manicuring every petal and dusting the lilies on the pond. That feels special, and it feels like destroying that would be an inherently wrong thing. And if they had died 100 years ago, it's way easier to say, I don't think that's inherently bad. But let's say it is their private property, it is their piece of art, it is sacred to them, and they're still alive. While I clearly can feel that it would be bad or wrong to destroy, fundamentally, from a like just philosophical point of view, I have a hard time justifying why they have any more right to a patch of earth than I do, and why I can't do what I want with that space the same way they do. Where like there might be something I'm wrong about or missing, and like the feels from what like I think kind of I'm thinking of is true. I don't know if they perfectly mesh or align, but I can't justify it. I can't justify, especially when there's consequences like putting someone in a cage or like indentured servitude where they have to pay their salary for months, years at a time for walking through nature just because it harmed it for other people's amusement.
It sounds like some commie shit to me.
A bit.
But I think
they would want those repercussions though. As a generality, they would want you to have a community debt or allegiance to that property. The consequence, there would be, the framework would be different. It is true, like they would want no one to own it or whatever. Fuck private property, but there would be a value system that says that is wrong.
It's like the idea of like if someone destroyed a piece of your house or something, like you bought a house and someone destroyed a piece of it. It's like, should they be allowed to do that and get away with it because they want to do something different with the space and it just happens to be the space that you live in?
Well, we kind of ran through that. I think that could fall under like, I'm not saying we can't have like distinctions we make for our private property, but as the world as a whole, and even that I have like some flexibility with, where I don't know how hardlined I am about that. Like, I don't necessarily think fucking up someone else's house is inherently wrong. I tend to.
It's like, elaborate.
How so?
Like, you don't think that fucking up someone's house is inherently wrong.
We're all stupid little beings put on this earth, right?
Yeah.
We all try our best to live, survive, learn who we are, and die, right? Mm-hmm. As a generality. Someone pays money for a stake of land and that becomes their little fiefdom, their little kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say I'm walking around, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I don't have a little kingdom to call my own.
Yeah.
It's clearly shitty to like break that person's window out of spite or whatever. It's shitty. But I don't think I can say that's bad. Like, you're not harming them. You're harming... And I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences either, but I'm, like, from a philosophical point of view, I don't know if I can justify destroying a thing just because someone else has a claim to it.
I would argue
inherently
that
wrong.
The idea of having someone in a financial servitude of, they have to pay the fines or whatever, and that comes out of their pockets. Well, if
I can, but that's the thing is, I can say that is inherently wrong. Putting someone in a cage is inherently wrong. So destroying a piece of nature, I can't say that.
Hear me out. So what that means if someone walks by and breaks that window, if the other person, they're just allowed to do that, no consequences, and they walk off.
But I'm not saying that.
Well, you're saying it's not a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying it's not bad. I think what I'm attacking is more right. All right, the thermal pool.
Yeah.
I can't inherently say destroying that piece of nature is a bad, philosophically moral thing to do. I can't inherently know that. I don't have the confidence to say, if we look at the metaphysical scale of morality, of people's lives, of their existence, of what is all good or bad in the grand scheme.
I get that. I get that with that example.
Right. So I'm more, I guess, but I can say consequences. Like when we decide to make laws and we decide to enforce them and we decide to fine people or put them in cages. I know that is for sure inherently bad.
Right.
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be done.
So let me finish the point I was getting to. So that's if that's a separate point, and then what that means then if someone comes up to my house and they break my window, I have to pay to replace that window.
No, you don't.
I want a window at my house. I need a window.
These are assumptions. These are, and I'm not challenging you on that. I'm challenging like the confidence in what we assume is or is not right and wrong. No one says you have to have that window. No one says we have to punish.
The point of having the house is having it a secured area.
I don't disagree.
So like if I'm just like, okay, cool, well, fuck these windows. Fuck, I could do a lot cheaper and just get a tent.
Yeah.
So, but the point is that if I'm going to invest in something that if someone else is it's inherently not bad for them to destroy, and then now I'm in the financial servitude of repairing after someone else that doesn't want my house to be there or is spiteful of what of my fiefdom.
Let me push harder, and maybe this will pop, because I'm not saying how I am thinking about this currently or how I feel about this is right. What I'm more questioning is the confidence in people knowing what is right or wrong. So if I push, let's devil's advocate, let's assume you're saying that you think people throwing rocks at people's windows is wrong. Let's just assume that's the point you're making.
Yeah.
For sake of argument. As wild as that would be to say.
It's a stretch, but we'll take it.
What I am questioning the confidence of is I feel like I can ground that making someone work against their will, I can ground that as wrong. I feel like relatively easily, I feel like I can definitely ground caging a person as wrong against their will pretty easily. But I have less confidence grounding that destroying someone's objects are wrong. So if I push that farther, what I'm saying is, how can you have the confidence to say destroying a physical object is bad? Like, where does that assumption of morality come from?
So
that's all I'm trying to get at.
So I think the difference is, I'm not saying that destroying a physical object is bad. More that I'm saying destroying another person's domicile,
another person's object.
Another person's space where they live, is one of the three needs that we have as a human is a shelter.
But I get where you're going, but I
see where you're going, and I'm not arguing. Yeah. I'm not arguing with you on the point that you're making.
Yeah, I know we both are, like, we're arguing each other's, like, ghost argument.
What I'm saying is the example of using someone's home is not the same as using, a statue.
I can get behind that. I think there's validity.
I would even argue that someone's, the beautiful water lily garden is not as important and is more gray area, void to destruction as.
Let me push then.
Yeah.
So destroying your window would be more wrong than to spray paint the side of it because it has a functional impact on your safety.
Yes. So
how do you justify me spray painting the side of your house with a big dick? How do we justify that as wrong? This is like my only point with this.
Again, it goes back to the moral code of you're a dick for doing that.
Why?
Because you are.
No, but that's not the
You're
question.
Drawing a dick on the side of my house. You're a dick for that.
We know imprisoning someone against their will, especially with shitty reasons, is like a bad thing to do.
Right. So maybe the consequence isn't like that you get imprisoned for it, but you come back and clean it up now.
But
I know that it's you that did it.
But
and you're
I
caught,
think you have the right to inflict violence on someone who does that. I'm not saying it's not bad, but I'm trying to like push of like how we have the confidence to say something is right or wrong at all. What is wrong about painting an object that someone else's owns? What about that is actually the bad thing that deserves punishment?
The fact that it does not belong to you?
Why is that wrong? That's what I'm... Do you get what I'm...
I think that you're opening a can of, like, once you go past that gate, you get to a thing of, do we deserve to have nice things?
That's like the worst version of that argument.
I really think that's the direction you're going in, because of what you're saying is
what determines good or bad? This is a bigger thing in like the quality of the things we have or who has them. It's why is something good or bad? What makes something morally good or morally bad? What about you owning something and me putting a different color paint on it makes that morally bad? Like, I'm doing a ghost argument.
Okay,
I can fight my own point to like...
I will cede a little bit to the point that maybe it's not morally bad, but it's still a dick thing to do.
I agree. That is my point, is like, I think just in general, it's easy to assume someone fucks up a yellow spring and they're a piece of shit, so they deserve all these consequences. But what I'm basically pointing out is like, yeah, they probably are a dick, and maybe they should have consequences, but the reality is, we know the consequences we give people, we can ground those. It's easier to like have a fundamental grounding that imprisoning someone is a really shitty thing.
Yeah.
Some people deserve it for things they do, sometimes they don't. But it's harder for me to like philosophically justify that destroying a piece of nature is inherently bad and worthy of that level of consequence. So like if I'm saying, I don't know if it's that shitty to like spray paint someone's house, if I had to like fend off that argument, I would be left with like, I feel like myself would struggle to argue against that because my argument would be like, this is mine and I put energy into it and it bothers me you did that. But functionally, it's not hurting anything. It's not threatening my safety. It's not doing me bodily harm. You have freedom in this world just as I. It might be feel shitty, but I have a hard time proving that that was a bad thing to do.
So I would say that it doesn't have, I agree with you. And I would say that, it doesn't have to be morally wrong to be a shitty thing to do.
Yeah. But that's
so
kind of all I was trying to
if you take bad to the nth degree of saying, is it a bad thing to do? Or like when you say that, do you mean, is it a shitty thing to do? Or is it an inherently on a cosmological scale, have a negative impact on the tilt of the world? I think there are certain things that just don't need to be looked at in that spectrum. Because we don't live in that spectrum. We live here. I
tend to agree, but I think with something like this, where it is literally destroying nature, I think that argument, that line of questioning becomes a lot more valid, especially when we imprison people for hurting nature.
I definitely agree with you on that part. The sentences are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but I just think it's people have so much confidence in saying what this person did is clearly such a bad thing. And I can easily say it's shitty, but I don't really know that it is bad. And I don't hear anyone arguing in the favor I am. Where like, yeah, we know it's shitty, but I don't know if it's bad enough that we can justify doing things that we know are bad.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
I got distracted. Somebody shot off like 30 rounds.
I'm definitely down with the program being something like, if you break in my house and you break my toaster with a baseball bat, like you don't have to go to jail for it, but give me a new toaster, dog.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's obviously shitty.
Yeah.
But is it bad?
Like, go steal me a new toaster from Walmart now.
Like the dude who broke my windows. It's super shitty, but especially not knowing the situation, even though it's easy to make a ton of assumptions, I can't really know what that person, what they did is truly bad or not. I can't know that. And I think people have like so much confidence in assuming what is clearly a bad thing just because it feels shitty.
Like, what if God was speaking to him and he gave him the message that as a new apostle, he needs to go break your car windows and to show his devotion to the Lord.
On a serious version, I see people come into my hospital all the time, hearing voices. The voice of God is probably the most common auditory hallucination. If some dude is hearing the voice of God telling him to break every car window on my street, I can't say they're doing a bad thing. It's obviously shitty, but
it's misguided and shitty, yeah.
I don't even know if it's misguided because that is their reality.
I mean, okay, so for them it would not be, but we would recognize that it is
on the normal scheme or spectrum.
Yeah, for someone who's not hearing the voice of God. And
I just think I like challenging the basic assumption of like when a news station runs this type of story every hour on the hour and the articles are titled "Idiot Carves a Simple Love for His Fiancée."
Hey, we don't know. He might have been an idiot.
He might have been, but it doesn't feel like an acceptable way to characterize things to me. To begin with, I don't think it's significant enough to be a mainstream news story or even something that's reported at all. But if it is, I don't think it's acceptable to be done the way it is, especially when it's just then you have the additional layers of like probably shitty, maybe it's not bad, maybe it is, but the pretty shitty like motives involved of like making money off shaming someone else to make I don't know, to influence people to there's all those additional.
Yeah. There's always context.
Always. I liked that argument though. That was fun for me. I had like, do you want to do the dental rainbow?
I might as well. We're here.
All right. Oh God. The initial premises for this episode.
The thing that we planned on spending the most time on.
I just kicked my cat on accident.
Poor kid.
She's okay. She didn't lose any teeth. I don't think. We'll take her to the dentist. We're at the dentist.
Yeah, she came with us. That's right. Don't break the fiction.
So, should I kick it off with the story first?
Yeah, tell us a story. It's story time. I'm getting into bed. Tuck me in and read me a story.
Put your
Grandpa Steven.
Put your cats on my laps, and I'll tell you a little story. So, like most sane individuals, ever since I was a kid, I have always hated the dentist because they're perverts. They're all little creepy pedophile men with glasses. I know it. Every single dentist. And the reason I know is because every dentist has molested me. Every single dentist I've been to. Every time. But I remember
you can't make an appointment without getting diddled.
I remember the first time going to a dentist, like the first time I could remember as a kid. This dude had like all these I Spy posters. And I fucking love those things. I'm so good at spying with my little eyes. And I would find all the little traits and treasures. And I was so anxious this first time, though. I couldn't even find all of the things. And then he called me to go back, and I puked all over the waiting room. Like, violently puking, like 10 times, like green sludge all over this waiting room. And then they just had me leave. Like, I got out of the first
He is not trying to get in that mouth after that.
The dentist always made me so anxious. I had braces for like 8 years after that. I had
so you were at the dentist a lot.
All the time. I had the rubber band things where the rubber bands your top and bottom jaw. I had the double brackets. I would get so angry I would break their bite sticks, like crushing them. Like I hated dental shit. And at one point, I think like maybe like at 13 or something, I had my braces. I got kicked playing soccer. I got kicked in the mouth.
Ooh.
Probably the hardest I've ever been kicked. The direct face shot, I think to this day, had a handful of fights and shit, but this kick to my face was like so perfect. It was like an older cousin, like full wind up, and I like walked right in front of him, and his like foot just like smashed my face. And you know the wire on the braces? You have the brackets and the wire in front. All the brackets broke, so the wire just fell down on my gums.
Ooh.
And at the time, like my parents are pretty well off, but at the time, like we grew up like low middle to middle class, and like the braces were expensive as shit at the time. I knew it was a big deal. Like it was going to cost them thousands of dollars. And I was like such a scared, like full of fear, anxious kid. I was just not going to tell my parents. Mouth was like bleeding for days. A week goes by and I'm too afraid to look in the mirror. I finally look. My gums grew over all of the braces on my bottom jaw. The brackets were broken, so the tops of those are still there, but the wire was fully embedded in my gums.
Oh, no.
Could no longer see it. So, like, we go to the dentist, emergency. They're, like, too worried at this point. Like, I don't know if they're right or wrong for this, but they're like, we don't have time to, like, go to a hospital at this point. We just need to, like, yank this the fuck out. And they took a scalpel and cut my braces out of my gums. There's like a massive scar there still. I just hated them so fucking much. I chipped like 11 teeth shortly after that, like falling off some jungle gym. And it was always like...
What are you doing with your mouth, dog?
Dude, I'm just like hardcore like that.
Just fucking chewing on chunks of metal and rock. And
Dude,
just...
I eat whatever rocks I want. And then like...
anytime you fell, arms straight right into T-pose and just face down first. mouth first on the concrete.
When I chipped all of them, it was actually all at the same time, but I fell like 15 feet, landed okay, but my mouth was open and my top jaw hit my bottom. And it was literally like open my mouth and spit out a bloody handful of shattered teeth. It was like decently sized, like 15 chunks of my teeth. Just
That's
like
brutal as hell.
I was so scared too. Like I didn't want to tell anybody.
You had the fear of God in you still.
I did, absolutely. And then like during high school, getting older, getting crazier, I get my first DSLR camera, stolen from a nearby college that will not be named. Stolen a DSLR camera. I'm becoming increasingly fascinated with teeth. They're so fucking weird and interesting. One of like my earliest like pieces of art that I was like actually pretty proud of is like has a tooth in it, and it's like I don't know. It sounds stupid, but it's a tooth with a heart, and it's like a chiseled up tooth, and somebody got it tattooed, and I was always like, I don't know, super fascinated artistically about teeth. They're so fucking weird.
Another illusion, another nod to Steven is the Tooth Fairy.
I just be taking them teeth off the street. And I start photographing teeth and mouths in like really weird ways, and I'm getting like 7 lip rings, and I'm like photographing other people's mouths because I'm like weird like that. I have a whole collection.
I have some of your old. You gave me a bunch of your hard drive shit at one point, and you included a bunch of nasty pictures of your mouth.
I also have a series of people's poops on other people's driveway. In my art portfolio.
Did you submit that?
The Thompsons definitely saw it at one point, and they did not find it amusing. I get like 7 lip rings, and then a bunch of them got ripped out, but I did most of those myself. One of my buddies at the time, we would like at lunch pay the security guard with cigarettes. I remember sitting in his car, smoking cigarettes, biting on a lemon air freshener, and putting safety pins through my face. I don't know why. I like mouth stuff. Mouths are cool. And then like fast forward, decade of drug use, we're going to zip through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going back to the dentist. Okay. All these drugs and hard times really did a number. My enamel's been gone for 5 years.
You thought it was bad before when he was smashing his face into the pavement.
It's so much worse now. Like my teeth are just like raw. They hurt. They look great in the front. Movie star teeth in the front, but trashed in the back. Just meth mouth shit. So they tell me I need 17 new fillings. I've already had like 10 throughout the years, but now I need like 17 all at once. And after today, I need one more little fixaroo. So I had kind of decided, much more centered guy. I'm pretty calm and much more based than I used to be. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't be as anxious about the dentist, or I shouldn't be as like, not in turmoil, but like I get frustrated. It's not so much I'm afraid they're going to fuck up shit. I'm just like uncomfortable. I always hate it. So it's just so much to sustain. I don't like other people putting shit in my mouth unless I want them to put it in my mouth.
Right, of course. I think that's a general feeling felt by most people.
Yeah. So I'm trying to have a different approach. I'm sitting in this dumbass, uncomfortable ass robot chair that they use. I don't understand why they can't have better chairs. I'm wearing the dumbass, stupid, blind ass people glasses, looking like a goober.
You got the little paper bib.
Yeah, always. And they just like spill shit on it and don't give a fuck about what they just don't give a shit. And I'm wondering like, what the fuck has gone wrong in my life? Like, how am I here again? And this dumbass dentist, oh my God, dude, he just kept talking about techno music. And not in like a cool way, like he understood techno, like the nuances of house versus like new dubstep, like whatever. Like he's like, oh, I'm just listening to techno music when I get off work because it makes me feel nice driving home. Like that kind of
cool
techno.
Dog.
Yeah. And he was talking about how he's too old to use the word lit, but he still really wanted to. And his assistant keeps talking about what her next tattoo would be. And he generously offers that I give her some recommendations. Since I'm clearly tattooed and degenerate, he thought I might have some nice suggestions for him.
I mean, did you?
No, because while he clearly wanted to ask me questions, he did not take a moment to, wait till he's not drilling. It's like they only ask you questions when your mouth's packed full of cotton and you cannot respond. And you're like, you go like, oh, and they're like, they just like don't give a fuck at all.
Yeah.
Didn't wait for any of my responses. Really cool dude. And like normally, for all those years, I would like do a shot of heroin, pop a Xanny bar or two, and I could get in the zone. I can't do that.
You can't do that anymore.
So I'm trying to have a different approach. I'm sitting in the chair. They're doing front fillings this time in the front teeth, but on the back. So they're like trying to squirt the water, but like the angle of it, all the water like sprays back out of your mouth when they do the fronts.
Mm-hmm.
And the window is open. And I'm laying back. I'm doing deep breathing, trying to be mindful. And what do I see? A little dental rainbow. From all that water splishing out of my mouth, there was a massive rainbow in the window. And I actually was the most zen and mind altered in like a calm, peaceful way than I've been in like a long time. Like, those like weird...
That was Pride Month stopping in to say bye before it left.
Dude, it was so nice. Like, when I finally got up, like, I felt like fucked up. Like I don't know, dentists always make you feel like a little disoriented, but I was like enjoying it. I was like watching the water fly through the rainbow. I got all these weird refractions going on, and I'm just like, you're forced to just practice your breathing, and I have a dental rainbow emitting from my mouth like I'm a goddamn leprechaun. Felt so good. So
I love it to add that to the lore of leprechauns. The rainbow comes out of their mouth. The one end is a pot of gold. The other end is the leprechaun's mouth.
So the idea we had initially been talking about is how to make shitty things enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a stupid, dumb thing. The whole, like, there's good from it, but like the whole like meditation, mindfulness, which I have drawn a lot of things from over the years. Those aren't bad, but it's often just so cheesy how it's looked at. And the idea like turn shitty things into good things is like so cheesy and like harder to do than it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Things like doing
especially
dishes.
when you're typically a pessimistic person.
Yeah, or fucking drug withdrawal, like serious shit that it is bad to try to find upsides or try to like feel to remember what it's like. All that dumb shit is just so fucking hard to embrace the suck. But there's something like if you can slowly or like find ways to switch gears, or what helps me a lot is to find like one thing I like or like one pretty thing, and then just kind of like dial in on that. It'll really like, you can kind of numb out to all the shitty parts.
I love that you just learned how to look at the bright side of something.
Oh, that might be kind of true.
It's a daily practice for me. It's like,
really?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I'm typically a generally optimistic person. I wouldn't say I'm the most optimistic, but I generally am.
You're a chipper chap.
Yeah. but that doesn't mean that I'm like, it's fucking rainbows and roses every day. It's like, yeah, shit sucks.
Oh, you
but
got
it's
a
like,
real spiteful streak in you too. You
yeah,
got a
it's
real
like
bitterness in you.
I have to make the things I have to, that's part of the dirtball thing is I have to find the things that I appreciate and that are worthwhile that I can like, okay, well, at least like this is cool out of this. And like, at least like,
But is that regular for you? Because for me,
that's a very regular thing I do on a daily basis.
It would be an exaggeration to say it was monumental. Like this, I find good things and shitty things all the time. Or like humor is the biggest escape I probably have from really shitty things. But it is not natural or easy for me at all. And to find things that are aesthetically pleasing or like a beautiful aspect or like sound or thing to see in something can go a long way. But are you like, do you feel that often or does it feel important when you do?
It's not that it feels important. It's just like any time that I feel that like I'm dwelling on the fact that I have to do something that sucks or like that the situation I'm in sucks or whatever. Of course you have to like live in that for a second. It's normal to feel that sadness or, frustration or anger, but then like, what's the way out of it? And for me, the way out of it is, and just to get back to like, okay, well, I got to do it anyways. Just might as well find something to enjoy about it, or at least, so it's like, I don't know. I spill something on the floor while I'm working. And it's like, well, you know what? I was going to mop later anyways, or the floor needs to be cleaned anyway. So I might as well just mop it while I'm doing it. It's like just stuff like that of like finding a thing that like could normally be either a minor inconvenience to of course, when it's a much larger, atrocity, it's a little bit harder to find those things. But for example, this one's hard to think about because of the enormity of the atrocity. When my grandparents died, that was a firm catalyst for me to pick up my shit and move. There were other things. That was stagnant in Florida and there wasn't much room for me to grow there, but it's definitely possible that I would have stayed there longer and been stagnant than the catalyst of them dying and other things changing. And, I was able to move on and I am where I am now, in many ways because of that.
Yeah. Which is awesome. That's kind of, more macro, but like in the...
Right. Yeah. But that's something I think about when I think about that happening is, if you're going to find a bright side to it, I met a lot of cool people because I moved up here and I, found a new home for myself, and it's hard to put it in that phrasing because then that also leads to like, is it worth it? And like, you can't do that to yourself. But
see, I don't feel any of that naturally. Like my default is to I'm a sufferer, right?
Yeah.
Suffer through things. And like, I mean, I like being funny. I like goofing. I try to minimize like how shitty things will be. I try to find like good escapism through it, but my like default mentality is like, I will endure this. The only way through is through. I have to get through it. But
I'm going to suffer along the way.
Yeah. And I still generally feel that way. But when a big thing in like the long rehab I was in was like, I didn't have any art supplies. So to like get through all this dumb shit I didn't believe in and had to do, I would like focus on like remembering a tree and remember like that I would see outside and remembering like what the leaves look like. And with the goal of like, I know I'm probably not going to be able to draw for another 6 months, but I want to remember as much as I can about how that tree looked, how those leaves felt, and see how much I can like capture later and find like something pretty that I could just like hold on to for dear life.
Mm-hmm.
And that just doesn't come natural to me. I don't know. There's I don't know if other people feel that in the small ways, because I think the overall like positive perspective is like maybe it's just the culmination of putting together such a large string of those things that different worldview becomes easier to shift to.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like you kind of you fake it till you make it sometimes, and there's definitely times where it feels like forced, but when you do it more often, I'm sure that makes it easier to do.
Do you feel that way when you see the moon at night? Like, that's one of the only ththings in life that I can get solace out of, like, every day or every night.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a very cool. Just the other day, 4th of July, we were coming home and it was like full in the sky, and it was like, oh, cool. That's like, it was kind of low, so it was big.
That gives me like a sense of peacefulness every time. Like, some of my like both most beautiful and like sad moments are like, I can remember looking at the moon when I was feeling the things, like it always calms me.
It's always been there.
Yeah.
But it won't always be there.
Well, probably until someone destroys it.
That's exactly, yeah. That's the final frontier.
That's gonna be me.
You gotta put a nuclear base on the moon, and then
my goal is to poop on the moon. Then I will officially have scarred the landscape.
Can I tell you something? We had these catering things at this really nice, company, this awesome real estate company that's like, they're own half of fucking Detroit probably. And their offices that we went in, the bathrooms were so nice in all of them. And they're in these like incredible buildings. Like, some of them are like historical buildings in Detroit that have been renovated, and they're really, really nice inside. And I pooped in all of them. And it became a goal at one point of like, I'm going to like utilize all of these bathrooms to the fullest. These historic monumental buildings that are a part of the heart of Detroit. And I pooped in them. I left my mark in these wonderful cultural touchstones in Detroit.
Oh, that's amazing. Was that building you showed me, that fancy?
That's one of them.
Dude, that place is wild. I ended up looking.
Yeah, that place is very cool.
Man, that's funny.
It wasn't like strictly a goal at first, but I realized like, we are here during the hour of the day when I usually have to poop. And, I'm not afraid to poop in a public restroom, especially these very, very nice ones. So
you got to shoot your shot when you got it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta take the chance, take the opportunity. Don't miss that shot. You don't know when you're ever going to be back there again. Leave your mark.
Any poop story amuses me. Well, I think that is that's an episode, huh?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I did have a question for you. One more question. Yeah. So when you go to the dentist, with your experiences with drugs and the law and the legal system, in I guess sobriety as a whole, I guess, do they still give you like anesthetic and shit?
Yeah, anesthetic is non-narcotic.
Does that like fuck with you at all?
Like lidocaine or like put you under?
Oh, I guess the lidocaine, I guess more like any kind of like pain numbing sensation. Like I don't know, like how
like direct serotonin releases from anesthetics. So like,
okay, yeah,
that isn't triggering people when they get surgeries and they're put out. That is like one of the most common relapses for people, even if it's been like years sober. Like, even if it's just alcohol and you're 2 years sober, you get a fucking stomach surgery, heart surgery or whatever, and they put you under it, even though you don't feel it because you're unconscious for most of that releases in your brain. It still sparks all those reward pathways, and people relapse after anesthesia all the time.
That's
lidocaine and stuff. There is an element of it that it reminds me, like a physical reminder that you can feel different. And
yeah,
I would be lying if I didn't get like some mental reminder out of it, but there's no feel good that is like directly triggering or anything.
Okay. I was curious about that. I was thinking about you were talking about you going to the dentist yesterday, and I walked away from the conversation thinking, oh, I should have asked him about that.
Yeah, I think maybe it's for some people. I know one dude, he was he would get super bored, and when he was sick and didn't have dope, he would his mom was a nurse, so he would shoot up lidocaine into his hands and then jack off.
Jesus. Very cool, very fun. Very lighthearted. Love this podcast.
Good times. Fun stuff for next week. Actually, kind of more researchy. We got a cool topic with some.
It's actually going to be cool this time, guys.
Some interesting hypotheticals to place, and appreciate you guys sticking around.
Yeah. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John. Love it.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trashcats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes, if you're super bored, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at Skyzix, SKYZICX. And yeah, cool stuff ahead. And yeah. Good night.
That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.
Eat all the hard trash, all the hard candies in the trash, and then go to the dentist. And I appreciate Steven left in the notes to replug my fridge.